She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Here on the Dani Johnson Show, we love to bring you content and topics and messaging to help you think about your life, to actually cause you to just take a quick pause and to really look at the path that you're on and where you're going. And is that the place that you actually want to go? The fact is that society is telling you what the definition of success is. Come on, you know what it is, right? It's the nice big house. It's the nice new cars every 2 years. It's making sure that you're keeping up with fashion, always wearing something new, always carrying something new, always walking in something new, always eating out. The list goes on of all of the things that have been marketed to you and me, telling us what success looks like. But behind that entire picture, we often find there's a tremendous amount of debt, which means there's a tremendous amount of pressure and a lot of pain. And speaking of debt, right now, college students are dealing with an insane amount of debt, being told that in order for them to succeed, they must go to college. But the facts is that there's a tremendous amount of billionaires and millionaires who never went to college. The most financially successful that never did. They never entered it. In fact, the very first billionaire I ever had the chance to observe and even work with, he was a high school dropout. He had a 9th grade education and built a $3 billion company. In fact, even in his 20s, his company went to $1 billion. Back in the day where the word billion was not even a common word. Today, billionaires that term is thrown around like left and right, no problem. You know, it's like a common thing. But back in this time, it was not. If someone was a millionaire, that was like, wow, that was like completely unheard of. Today, millionaires seem to be more of a dime a dozen, and the billionaire status is a whole different level of financial success. And again, that's just financial success. So we challenge you every day to think about your success and what it means to you, to define it for you, because you know you only have so many days on this planet. You only have so many hours with the people that you love or the people you're supposed to love. You only have so many hours to work. We got to make sure that we're working towards something that is important to us and that it's actually producing a result. And so right here, right now, it's Money Monday on the Dani Johnson Show. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how money plays in our future, as well as what it does when it's not put in the right places or when it's not really thought out well. So check this out. College student loan debt now stands at $1.4 trillion in the U.S. alone, which is more than U.S. Americans have spent on car loans and credit cards. And that's according to PBS News. So here's the facts. Students are trained to believe, both in school and at home by many of their parents, that they're not going to succeed if they don't go to college, that's the only path for them. Now, you know what? That's not a new thing. That was also in the time when I was growing up, when I was in high school, in the 80s. I was also told the same thing, that I would never amount to anything if I didn't go to college, that college would ensure me a greater paying job. The fact is that really true? In fact, I want to know from you. Do you think that your college degree was worth it? Are you actually using it today? Let's look at the money that was spent and what has it yielded you? Now, it makes perfect sense that if you want to go and become a doctor, then yes, that's a trade school. That's learning an actual skill set. But there's so many different college degrees out there, and I believe largely most of those college degrees were created to trap students into debt. It was probably the only way to get some of the kids to actually go to school. They could actually study something they were interested in, but whether or not they could use that college degree to actually make money, whether or not there was a job, a career path for that particular job, is a whole nother story. And so if you right now are a parent or you are in a high school right now and you're watching this program, because I know that we have a tremendous amount of young people who watch the show, kids that watch the show, teenagers that watch the show, college students that watch the show, I want you to really sit and look at this. Yeah, wait a second. Should I go? Should I not? I want you to hear from those who are faithfully listeners of this show, people who are a part of this audience, who are contributing to the program, and let you hear from their experience experiences so that you're going into this, your eyes wide open. Before you sign your kid up for $200,000 worth of debt, maybe there's something that you need to think a little bit differently about that. I'm not saying don't send your kid to college. What I am saying is make sure you're making a wise decision, and a decision that actually they are actually making, because they should be the ones perhaps paying for it, letting them make up their mind as to whether or not they are going to be serious about what it is they're investing into. We have Tina Pack from Washington, if the line will open. Tina Pack from Washington. What about you? Do you feel like your college degree was worth it? What you paid for your college degree, would you do it again? Have you been able to profit from it?
Honestly, what I'm doing now makes me happier than I've ever been in my life, and it has absolutely nothing to do with my degree.
Wow. What did you get your degree in?
Well, I technically had a degree in, it was more of a certificate, but I went to school to be a CNA, and that's more of a certificate program, but I mean, it leads on to, some people go on to be, you know, RNs and LPNs and things like that. And so, and I did enjoy being a caregiver, and I still take care of people just in a different way.
Yeah.
And then when my main job taking care of people kind of ended, I went back to school to get a degree as a pharmacy technician. So again, things like that actually require schooling, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's actually skill. You know what I mean? A CNA is not just having their head filled up with knowledge that they'll never be able to use. And there are degrees that fill your head up with knowledge that you're never going to use. But in this case, you know, the certificate to be a CNA, you actually learned a skill, and even like how to help save a life, even. And then the pharmacy tech. That's actually, again, that's more like a trade school. You're learning a specific school that actually can be turned into something profitable. Did you ever finish that pharmacy tech school?
I did. I did. And I actually graduated towards the top of my class because I actually started taking college more seriously than I did high school. I like barely graduated high school and then went on to do things like this. So and so again, it's more a matter of, I didn't barely graduate high school because I wasn't smart. I barely graduated high school because I didn't care.
Yeah. It's true.
And so, you know, you can still, obviously, if you want like a 4-year degree or something like that, when you want to go to university, grades kind of matter as far as like scholarships and things like that. So it's less expensive to go to school.
Right.
But my biggest recommendation is, you know, think about what you really want to do with your life, and can you make money at it legally?
Yeah. I love that last word. That is kind of important for sure.
It is. You know,
oh, wait a second. I get it. No, wait. Okay. So basically you are a professional drug pusher and it's legal.
Right. So
awesome.
Yeah, I did that, and so now I actually own a gluten-free baking business.
Really?
And yeah, and so and I love that, and I'm actually the only exclusively gluten-free bakery in Tri-Cities where I live.
Wow. So you're not using your degrees at all?
No, I actually don't. Most pharmaceutical medication doesn't like me, so I just use that to forewarn people about, you know, the side effects of things, because I've seen a lot of them.
Yes.
Either like through personal experience or just family members who have reacted badly to just the most mundane thing. My grandma, we couldn't give her anything more than Tylenol, or she kind of turned mean. And I mean, she wasn't a mean person.
Wow. And nobody wants a mean grandma. I had one of those. I actually have had 2 of those. They're not fun. They're really not fun at all. I hope I'm not a mean grandma. I have to like search my heart on that one. Okay. Wow. This is awesome. All right. So you're not using your degrees, your certificates as a CNA and a pharmacy tech. So do you regret spending the money in that direction, or do you wish that you might have figured out what you wanted to do sooner?
Well, it all kind of like rolled into itself. And so in, being a pharmacy technician, I was living on the west side in Oregon, and then being a pharmacy technician brought me to Eastern Oregon because I have family here, and smaller area. They needed pharmacy technicians, so I took the job, and it didn't really work out because I was having health issues that I didn't know about,
right,
or really understand at the time, and so it kind of cost me my job because it was something serious that I wasn't even aware was going on. And but by that time, I had met the man who's now my husband and had to stay because
you got married.
So,
exactly.
And
so you're just saying that it kind of led to another thing. It worked itself out. But do you remember how much you spent for both of those certificates?
Well, the certificate for my CNA, probably cost me a couple $100.
No, I'm talking about the schooling. How much did all the schooling cost? Your books, classes, all of that stuff.
Well, the pharmacy technician degree was a little bit more expensive. We're still paying on that one.
How much? How much was it?
I want to stay in the neighborhood of like $50,000 to $70,000.
Wow.
To a trade school, but
wow.
Still.
Wow. That's a lot of money, and you're still paying on that debt. Like, how long ago were you in pharmacy school?
2010, 2011.
Oh, so, okay. This is, yeah.
More recent, but yeah.
7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so you're still paying on that. Man, that's a tough one. Like, because, there's certain parts of this country you can pay cash for a house for that amount, or you could buy a house for that amount. You know what I mean? And that's the classic case. You went to school, you got the education, you got a mortgage with no house, and got an education that you're actually not even using, and come to find out that it's actually not helpful for your health to be using that education. And that's unfortunately what I've seen so many times. And so often that people just go, it kind of worked out because then, like in this case with Tina, where she, she's like, okay, well, the job moved, my degree took me to Oregon, and it took me to meet my husband, so that all worked out. Yeah, but now we're married with a $70,000 debt that we're trying to pay off. And so I don't know really what the answer is there, other than allowing young people to figure out what it is that they want to do. And maybe like for us, for Hans and I, we found ourselves as young entrepreneurs. And we started as entrepreneurs really, really young, in our teens. Both of us were teenagers when we started in business. And I'm really grateful that we did, because we had to learn a lot and learn it fast. And obviously we made a whole lot more money as entrepreneurs when we were young than anybody that was our age trying to, coming out of college. And we didn't have a debt that was tied to our education as entrepreneurs either. And so it's unfortunate that sometimes, people pay for $70,000 for an education or $50,000 for an education and then end up not using it. And I love Tina's attitude. Well, it kind of helped me meet my husband and kind of helped me discover what my health issues were. And ta-da, she has started a business out of that, which is awesome. Really awesome that she's helping people. And you heard her right from the beginning. It's like, I love what I'm doing now. So again, there's just one example. Stay with us and you will hear some more examples, pro versus cons, as whether or not it's worth it. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
It's time to take on a whole new mindset. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
College debt. The average student has a debt from 2016, $37,000, which is up 6% from the year before. That's a lot of cash. Is that what it really takes to become successful? To go into debt for a college degree that we may not ever use? Listen, you might be pro-college. Listen, I live in Texas. This place is so pro-college, it's ridiculous. It's almost like you're outcasted if you are not driving and programming and pushing your kids to go into college. You're kind of looked at like, you're a terrible parent if you're not telling your kid to go to college. I've even had friends with that same exact mindset, but I've also had friends that pushed their kids so bad in college that it almost killed one of their kids. That the stress and the pressure literally put the child in emergency rooms several times. So here's the bottom line. Is it wise? Are we really thinking about what's our motive for it? Now, I'm not against it. I didn't go to college. I became a millionaire by the time I was 23 and have made millions of dollars since then, of which we give all of it away. I don't take a salary from my business. I don't touch the profits from the business. The profits and the salary goes straight to taking care of the extreme poor, which right now is a project of rescuing 1,000 children, kids, 3 and 4-year-olds, 5 and 6-year-olds, 10 and 11-year-olds, 16-year-olds out of the sex trade. Yes, because some sick sucker has some kind of sick pleasure in, putting his hands on a little child and having sex with that little child. So the profits from this business is going to rescue 1,000 children from the sex trade this year. How? Go to kingsransom.org. If you want to do something with purpose, and right now you're deciding whether or not you want to go to college and whether or not it's smart to spend money on it, let me give you something that's purposeful. Purposeful that you know that you're doing something powerful and doing something good with your life and with your time. Go to kingsransom.org. Rescue 1,000 is a project. You'll see it right in the header. Click on it and do what you can. $1, $2, and or share it with other people. Let other people know about it. Just you doing that, you influencing other people to give towards the project. It's a $5 million project. $5,000 helps to extract a child, take care of them for a year, give them the counseling and some training so that they can actually reign in the marketplace, so that I can actually do something with their lives, getting them the proper food and care, counsel, love, safety, without having to be touched, manhandled by some big old person that's perverted in his thought and hurting, obviously, in his own heart that would ever drive him to do something like that. But the bottom line is these kids are victims. They have no one to help them unless you step up. Go to kingsransom.org. Rescue 1,000 kids from the sex trade right now. Again, that's Rescue 1,000. So if you're looking for a purpose, do you have to go to college to find the purpose? Should you go and spend $37,000 to figure out what your purpose is? So many kids do, and they end up with a drinking degree plus a degree on a piece of paper that unfortunately they never use. As a parent, you don't want your kid to make that mistake, but at the same time, you want them to advance themselves in some kind of education so that they can learn. And here's the facts. Self-education has always from the beginning of time proven to be much more powerful and profitable versus formal education. Now, I'm not talking about kindergarten to the 12th grade. I'm talking about all that extra money going towards college. College is not the place to try to figure out what you want to do with your life. College is a place to get skills. So if you already know what you want to do, you invest in those skills and then you make those skills profitable for you in the marketplace so you can not only pay off that debt, but for the rest of your life, have a good, solid career that is fulfilling, that is profitable, so that you can take care of a family, so you can travel, and you can do things that are much more purposed, like freeing 1,000 slaves out of the sex trade. Yes, 1,000 children, right? Could you imagine? Look, it's $14 a day. Lunch, you spend that on lunch. So look, if you are smart, you are going to pick something you're going to do. Listen, when I started in business at the age of 19, I started in an industry I was not even interested in. I didn't know anything about it. But the fact is that very industry, that very business model helped to train me up for the rest of my life. It really did. And so it's not so much about, wow, how do I pick what I'm supposed to do? I just did something. Hans just did something. Hans is my husband. We just did something and we stuck with it. And because of that, we profited greatly. And so that's one thing that I would say, that if you are a parent or you're a college student or you're looking at a high school student looking at going into college, just think about that. Like, wait a second. It's about learning. Get addicted to learning. But it's what you're learning has got to profit into something. And unfortunately, college doesn't teach you anything about money unless you're going for a finance degree. That's the only way you're going to learn about money. It's not going to teach you how to manage your money. It's not going to teach you how to pay off the debt you're about to go into. It's not going to teach you how to stay out of debt. And that's going to teach you how to make your money grow for you. So self-education, in my opinion, is 1,000 times more important. And learning the things that you actually should know that will help you succeed in every area of your life. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Do you want to be shackled for 21 years for an education debt? I don't think so. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. This is the Dani Johnson Show. It's Money Monday, where we're talking about your money and things you should do with it, and maybe things you should think twice before you do with it. One of them is college degrees. Are they worth it? Check this out. The Washington Post reported that almost half of the college graduates in their 20s are underemployed. What does that mean? They're working jobs that did not need a bachelor's degree. So basically, they got a degree and they got a job that they're not using their degree, and that they need a degree to get that job. So is it worth it? Are you using your college degree? Has it become a profitable endeavor for you? Please do this. Share today's show right now, because somebody might make a big mistake trying to figure out their life, and they're going to sign up for $100,000 in student loans trying to figure out their life and then not ever end up using it. Now, if it's somebody that has something very pointed that they want to do, then yes, get the skill and make sure that you're learning a trade versus just filling your head with a bunch of knowledge so you can sound smart in front of people and never be able to profit from that degree. So we've asked our audience if they felt that their degree was worth it and if they're actually using it. And we're going to hear from them just so that you can see just, you know, what others are doing with it. So we got Doug Chambers from Florida. Doug, was it worth it? Was your college degree worth it?
In the long run, yes, it was.
Tell me how. I want to hear.
I'm not sure.
Tell me how.
I got my degree when I was in the military. So I used tuition assistance, and that helped pay for 3/4 of my degree.
That's awesome.
So, and once I retired from the military, I got a job working civil service, and a requirement was they said you have to have a degree. Well, for the first 9 years I worked civil service, it didn't make a bit of difference. However, when I was finally up for a promotion to a GS-12 position, it was a strong requirement, and that helped me make the money I needed to put away where I could actually retire like I did this past December. So I don't work anymore.
Yay. Okay, so let me ask you a question. How much, so this is awesome because you used a good system to be able to pay for 3/4 of your degree. What did you get your degree in?
I have a degree in management and a minor in history.
Nice. Okay, so management degree, I think definitely should be helpful in the marketplace for sure. And so you're saying that was that the actual required degree, or could it have been any degree that you got?
It could be any degree.
They just wanted to make sure that you had a degree.
Correct.
I get it. And so how many years before that degree actually paid for itself?
I will say about 10 years, because I got it in 99, and I actually get the benefit of it in 2012 when I was promoted.
Okay. Yeah. So 10, 12 years. Yeah. And then, so you're retired. What are you going to do with yourself? You've got a long life still ahead of you.
Well, I just turned 65, so I'm working with Special Olympics here in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, the Okaloosa County. And I'm also playing with a couple of different music groups, jazz group and a parlor band here in the local area.
Nice. So you are keeping yourself busy, and that's important because you know what they say, that most people within 2 years after they retire, they end up dying. So make sure you keep that vision strong and that you're doing something good. Okay, so in this case, here it is, and I love what he said. The military helped pay for 3/4 of that degree. The rest of it he had to pay for it. Do you remember how much you had to pay for your part?
I'm guesstimating it to be approximately $5,000 I had to end up paying for because I got it all through military courses.
That's amazing.
One other thing real quick. I will be 100% debt-free the end of this month because I'll be taking the money I was able to save and pay off everything.
I have tears in my eyes. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Now I got a question for you. How long have you been in debt, Doug?
Let's see, I'm 65, so let's go back about 35 years.
Yeah, 35 years being in debt and now crossing over to be debt-free. Wow. That's a lot of years.
Yep.
To be in debt.
Had I learned of your programs many, many years ago and gone through it, I wouldn't have been in debt for 35 years. I might have been in debt for about 5.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you say to the young person? What do you say, Doug, to the young person? And by the way, thank you so much. I did not know that you had learned how to pay off the debt from War on Debt, from the trainings and materials that we have. But Doug, I have a question for you. I want you, or a suggestion, I want you to do something for me. I want you to talk to that young person right now about being in debt for 35 years and what they could have done to not do that. Like, do you feel like you should not have dealt with that debt for 35 years, but have gotten out of debt much faster?
Most definitely should not have had that debt. Mm-hmm. I went paycheck to paycheck looking at, I like this, so I went and bought it, and I went in debt. And after coming to first steps with you and learning and realizing that what I needed is what I bought, and I quit going for what I wanted until I could actually pay cash for it. Yeah. And I have personally, emotionally, I've been set free. I thank you, Lord, and I thank you, Dani.
Doug, that's amazing. And I know that feeling. And I can't imagine 35 straight years of carrying the pressure of debt and living our lives according to our wants. And we don't even really want it. You know what I mean? It's like somebody else is telling us to want it. Somebody else is telling us, marketing to us, that this would be the greatest thing if we get it. And it's going to make our life easier. And we're going to look cooler. We're going to feel better if we buy all of this stuff. And the fact is it doesn't work. Being debt-free is what helps you feel fulfilled. world. Owing no man anything is what brings in freedom. You know what I mean? Like, you feel on top of the world when you owe nobody nothing. You're not carrying that stress and pressure of the world on top of your shoulders. You know, when you have no debt, it's incredible. And so, Doug, I feel that relief, and that what you said, I've been set free of that debt. And so I'm excited that you are going to have the rest of your life in freedom instead of being shackled with debt. And I really believe this, and hear me out, especially if you're younger, if you're not 65, if you're not my age, but you're younger, listen to me. There's no doubt, and you can hear it in Doug's voice, that he would have chosen to live free from debt in all of his younger years instead of suffering for all of those years. And we have the choice. We have the choice every day by what we choose to put our money towards, and whether or not that's wise or foolish. Doug, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experience. I appreciate it. We've got Becky Ellis from Iowa. Becky, was your college degree worth it?
Hi, Dani. Yes, definitely.
Tell me how.
I am a special needs pediatric nurse, and I knew from the time I was 5 years old that I wanted to be a nurse. And so, yes, I've been a nurse now for almost 30 years, and I love it.
Wow. That's a calling. When somebody that young, you know what I mean, has this thing in them that says, I got to do this. I feel like that you were knitted together in your mother's womb to be a nurse, right? And look, I can hear the joy in your voice about even doing that. How much was your college degree?
Remember, this was almost 30 years ago, so I want to say between $15,000 and $20,000.
I wonder what it is today.
A lot more.
Isn't that disgusting?
It is.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, but I can also tell you I'm the youngest of 7, and I'm the only one with a college degree, and every single one of my siblings are equally as successful as I am without a college degree.
Wow, I love that. You're so awesome. You're awesome. Look at that. So you're one of 7. 6 did not get a college degree, and all 7 of you are equally successful. So you're saying that the college degree doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be more successful than someone else?
No. As a matter of fact, transitioning into my next career, because I had a mother who did not retire until she was in her mid-80s.
Wow.
And I am, now as much as I love nursing, I'm ready to transition into my next career, which does not take a college degree.
Right. Which is awesome. Wow. Becky, thank you so much for sharing. So what do you suggest for a young person or even a parent that's listening right now as far as college degrees go? Because we know that I think it's almost double. Right? Did you become you became a pediatric nurse. So what kind of a nurse is that? I mean, that's not a CNA.
It's a registered nurse.
Okay, it's an RN.
I specialize in pediatrics. Yeah.
Wow. So $15,000 to $20,000 today what is that degree today? I think it's
well over 50.
Yeah, 50 to 60,000. Yeah, so it's triple. It's over triple the amount. So if you were today, right, you're the young person and you've always had a dream to be a nurse when you were 5, and you're facing $50,000 to $60,000 for a degree, would you still do it?
I would think a lot harder about it if it's what I really want to do. You know, I mean, obviously I knew it was what I wanted to do, but I guess I would think about any education because, there's many different ways to get an education.
There is.
You don't have to have a formal
That's right.
Now.
But I mean, if you want to become a registered nurse, you need that formal training. Yeah. But man, $50,000 to $60,000 today versus $15,000 to $20,000, it's so disgusting to me. And that's a mortgage with no house. That's what that is.
Right.
That's a mortgage with no house. That makes me sick to my stomach. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
So 4 years ago in July, we showed up to our first Dani Johnson event, our first Steps to Success. And we were completely desperate in every area of our life. At the time, I thought it was just because of our finances, but then I figured out pretty quickly that it was because of my lack of people skills that we were where we were. We sat in the front row. We got fast track, and we sat in the front row right in the center next to some amazing people because we were so hungry, so desperate, so broken, and I pretty much cried through the entire event, honestly. And when she did the War on Debt, which she will show you, this afternoon, I went back immediately and got it. She had just started talking. I heard a couple stories, and I was like, if they can do it, I know we can do it. So we went back and got it and listened to it on the way home in the car, because we drove from Michigan all the way to Missouri. So we listened to it in the car, and when we got home, we immediately got our papers out. We wrote down our plan, and we started applying it. And within 14 months, we paid off over $62,000 worth of debt. We never in a million years thought that was possible. There's so much that has happened in the last 4 years, and I'm the person that wants the results immediately. I don't like the process of getting there. I want to just get there. But I've learned to appreciate the process over the last 4 years and just seeing the transformation that has happened in us. Personally, we individually experienced different things, and we experienced a lot of things together. I was paying our bills. I was completely disrespectful to my husband and didn't really know how bad it actually was. And so that part of our life is still improving. I can say we're a work in progress. It takes time, and we have grown so much.
We showed up. My wife, I didn't know this at the time, but she was battling thoughts of suicide. I had no idea. I thought I was being a perfectly good husband. I did my best to serve her, be a great guy. But what she needed was somebody who would step up and be a leader in our marriage. That's not who I was. And I was totally emasculated, physically emasculated by, there was someone in our church, the pastor, and so we felt the brokenness of a church, having to leave and just hurt, and devastated. One of the biggest breakthroughs started in our marriage is when Lucy started being a wife to me. And I, as a leader, I should step up, right? Take action first, be the initiator. She did it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a completely different person. And I can tell you, our marriage has just, it's amazing, the difference between her feeling suicidal, me stepping down as a leader, to me taking the initiative and just looking her in the eyes and saying, honey, thank you for allowing me to be your leader. And she just melts every time. This is awesome. So. So let me just tell you this, guys. If you're struggling, if you're broke, you're wondering what your next step is, hey, just take action. Follow those notes that you just took. Take action and do it, because your story is going to be here, and people are going to be inspired by your story. So are y'all ready to take notes? All right, let's do this. Help me welcome Miss Dani Johnson, America's favorite millionaire, to the stage.
The way you look at things is about to change. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. Did your grandmother tell you that statement? It's a real true statement. There really is more than one way to skin a cat. Did you know that out of 44 million students who use student loans to go to college, 53% of them said they would have found a different way? That's what I mean. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I know of a young kid who grew up with a single mom who struggled her entire life raising her kids, that when he came out to First Steps to Success, he happened to have been in college and accumulating college debt. When he came out of First Steps steps to success. Again, as a teenager, he realized I don't have to go into debt to go to college. So he ended up getting a job working at a grocery store part-time, and he used that to help pay for his college loans. He ended up paying off all of his student loans while he was in college. So he ended college debt-free. Not only that, but he ended up starting a business while he was in college and then started another business. He actually was a paint contractor. So this kid was very productive while he was in college, and he made up his mind, I am not going to be like 98% of the population and be dead or dead broke at the age of 65. I'm not going to do it the way everybody else does it, which they're always looking for the loan. They're always looking for the debt to get something that they want. Instead, I'm going to produce value in the marketplace. I'm going to use my skills, or I'm going to use my personality, or I'm going to use my strength to be able to make money. I'm going to trade my value that's in me for dollars and use those dollars to pay for my education so that I can increase my value out there in the marketplace even more. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Check this out, too. Washington Post reported that only 1 in 3 recent graduates strongly believe their education was worth the cost. Ooh. So we're asking that question of our audience today. And we've got Veronica from Virginia. Veronica, what about you? Your college degree worth it?
No, not at all. I took a lot of years and money to get my bachelor's. I had gone into debt for my associates with a student loan, but I paid it off fairly quickly after graduating. I didn't use that degree, and I went back for my bachelor's, and I was able to graduate debt-free.
Good job. Good job.
And unfortunately, I haven't used my degree not one day since I've had it.
What was your degree?
It's forensic psychology, and I actually need to have a master's to kind of like get my foot in the door in that area. And by the time I graduated, I didn't want to be in that area anymore, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom, homeschooler.
Wow. So if you had to do it all over again, what would you done?
I would have probably gone to First Steps sooner than I did, and done trainings that way, and gotten into something that interests me more than what my degree was.
Yeah. Why do you say you would have gone to First Steps to Success sooner?
Well, I didn't know about you until like 2014, but I feel like if I had that training sooner, I would have been able to maybe start my own business or get into a field that was more fulfilling for me.
Yeah. First Steps has a way of helping people define what is success for them, and to determine like what is in me, like what are my skills, what are my strengths, what are my abilities, what can I do to bring value into the marketplace versus just throwing yourself into something that you're like, crap, I just spent, how much money did you spend on your bachelor's degree?
Well, I had grants, so out of pocket, probably like $20,000.
Okay, and your associate's degree?
That one was even more. That was like $30,000.
Okay, so we're talking $50,000 was spent. Yeah. Again, in certain parts of the country, that's a house.
Yes, exactly. I could have, bought a fixer-upper and had it become an investment property or something else that would have been a better investment and actually given me something in return instead of just kind of being a piece of paper on my wall.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Veronica, thank you so much for that insight. I appreciate you tremendously. Okay, we've got Emmy Croxford from Richmond, Virginia. What about you?
Yeah, I think that it was a good experience to go, and I made some really great relationships. But overall, I don't use my degree at all in what I do.
How much did the degree cost?
My first one was about $46,000, and then my second one was $70,000.
Ooh, geez. So it's $110,000. That's a nice house.
I know.
That's 2 rental properties.
I know.
Wow, they could be paying you for the rest of your life. $110,000. And look what you said. I think it was a good experience. Go to Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Go to Disneyland. Go watch a movie. Like, if you're looking for an experience, you don't have to spend $110,000 for that. Okay, and you made some good friends. You made some good friends. Like, you could do that at the park with your 3-year-old.
I know. And, now what I do, I feel like in college we didn't really learn the skills that are important. Now what I do is I work and I change lives. I work with special needs moms. Wow. And I'm a life coach for them. Wow. So I get to see, their life improvement. I get that, with my business degree.
Wow. So you had a business degree, and what other degree did you have?
I have a business degree and also a degree in communication.
Wow. 110,000.
Right. And now I help special needs moms.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Do you have a special needs child yourself?
I do. I have 2 of them.
Okay, so look at that. So out of your own, I just want to. Can I come over and hug you? I just love that. I'm serious. Again, I want to just hug you. Okay, because there's so many victims out there that have special need kids, and again, I do not. There's a few of them I thought were. To be honest with you, I'm the special needs person in the household. That's the real truth.
I getcha.
That's the real truth for sure. Anyway, but the bottom line is look what you've done. You literally have taken your situation and you have found ways to be able to succeed in that. You know what I mean? And then to turn around and help other people who are walking through the same exact journey and will walk through that journey for the rest of their lives. And you're using those circumstances to turn it into something great and fulfilling. That is amazing. You're an overcomer, and that just really excites me. I am sad about the $110,000 that could have been 2 rental properties to pay for the rest of your life and to create wealth. Actually, you could have created wealth with that. But somebody didn't scratch your ear about that, unfortunately. Like, our whole freaking system is set up to cause people to fail financially, and college is one of those ways. We got Nikki. Nikki, I've got 1 more minute you're calling in from New Zealand. What about you? Was your college degree worth it?
Yes, absolutely. I did a social work degree. And you can't practice in New Zealand if you don't. It's compulsory. You have to have one to be registered.
Yeah, and what kind of a degree was that again?
A social work degree. A
social work degree. How much did it cost in New Zealand?
It would have cost 30,000 New Zealand dollars, which would be about 50,000
US dollars. Okay, and so you're using your degree today.
Absolutely, I've used it for 20 years.
That's awesome. And so, do you still pay off that debt?
Yes, because I've only worked part time in between having children, and social work wages are very low, so they're not quite.
Right. Wow. That's a lot of money to be paying off for 20 years, right? That's a lot of money to be paying off for 20 years. And social work is about helping people. And there's lots of different ways to help people for sure. But she feels, you heard it, Nikki from New Zealand felt like it was worth it. And she's actually using it. Now, again, hear the full side of the story. 20 years later, she's still paying for it. So that's something to consider when you're making your choices as to going to college. And again, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can work your way through college and pay for that education so that you are not just sitting there collecting debt, and then you hit, bam, you graduate and your student loans start. And then again, the studies are it takes an average of 21 years to pay off your student loans. Whew, that one makes me mad. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Helping you become all you were meant to be. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
College degree, is it worth it? Well, we've asked our audience if it is. We've got Rachel Collick from Los Angeles. What say you, girl?
Yeah, so I totally believe it was worth it. I got my degree in mechanical engineering, and so I'm still using it today, but I got the chance to pay it off within about 4 years.
Nice.
After I graduated. And, it's paid for itself multiple times over.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you do that? How did you pay off all that debt within 4 years of graduating?
Well, part of it was, starting out wise in the first place. I chose to live at home. I was fortunate enough to live about 10 minutes away from campus. And I went to an in-state school. I went to Purdue University, which is recognized worldwide. But yeah, it's in-state tuition. So kind of started out a little bit smart that way, had some scholarships, about $6,000 worth. And so I came out with only about $14,000 in loans.
Wow.
And then each month I made sure and paid off additional. So if I couldn't pay twice the payment, I would pay at least 1.5.
That's awesome. So you didn't do the minimum monthly payments. Really, really proud of you. That's amazing. So there you go. You've had multiple different people's opinions that all went to college. And so you get to decide for yourself. The main thing I can tell you this, self-education is the most important education. You just heard, here's one woman who's saying, I did it smart. I did an in-state school. And that's what's so funny about college, right? They're always trying to get you to move to another state. Well, it costs more money to go to an out-of-state school versus being in-state. It's actually cheaper for you to stay in-state. And so just be smart about it and make sure that you know what you want to do. So in this case, she wanted to become a mechanical engineer. She's actually using that degree. It's paid for itself multiple times. But if you're just going to college to try to figure out what you want to do, go to the park. Go somewhere else to figure out what you want to do. Don't waste time doing that. Just get a job. I don't care if you work at Domino's. I know people who've worked at Domino's who managed to buy 2 rental properties while they're working at Domino's. Hello? And those 2 rental properties are paying them monthly, month after month after month after month. They are actually creating wealth. In fact, by the end of this year, this same exact couple will have $40,000 in just rental income. We're talking young couple in their 20s. So I don't care where you work, just as long as you create cash and you use the cash wisely and you become an investor. Do that. There's so many different ways to become successful financially. And again, the show is about success in every area of your life, but today was Money Monday. And by the way, you've heard several people, which is amazing. We didn't set this up this way on purpose by any stretch of the imagination. We simply asked our audience if going to college was wise. If this is your first time joining us, this book is called First Steps to Wealth. It'll tell you exactly how I went from a homeless woman at 21 to a millionaire by 23. We'd love to give you a copy of this. You pay the shipping to get it to your house. We'll pay for the $15 book. Or you can download it for free if you go to DaniJohnson.com. Again, that's DaniJohnson.com. So if you go to college or not, you definitely want to make sure that you live debt-free. And if you have a debt, pay it off. Do not stay shackled. You heard Doug break down in tears today when he said he is finally debt-free, and he finally learned it from the systems that we teach here at DaniJohnson.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. Please share today's program. Save somebody the headache and the hassle of $100,000 worth of debt and not using it. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll see you then. God bless. Goodbye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.